is Nell. She's our new obituaries writer. Start here, your first assignment.
Morning.
Are you okay? I heard you scream.
You're the only one that can see me.
I need some air.
Oh, hey, look who decided to show up. Finally, for the world premiere of Not Dead Yet on ABC for what will be the Steve Park and Rusty Wallace installments. Well, the day has finally come. I mean, just for this 1 week, because starting this coming Wednesday for my RCR Harvick 29th birthday, we're going to watch it in real time with the return of the Goldbergs, which will be the Ty Dillard installment, and of course the Rusty Wallace installment of A Million Little Things, where this week on Not Dead Yet will be the Dale Sr. Austin Dillon installment. But before we get into that, and before we get to hopefully meet Christina Moses and the rest of the AMLT cast and crew virtually for my birthday present, one of probably many calls I'm going to be receiving for my birthday in the form of an Instagram video call. We have to get started on the series. We have to start the series first, and then we have to later, after this is over, we have to go through the Brett Bodine and Ryan Newman installments of the Goldbergs. So let's not waste any more time rambling, brush our teeth, take that laundry bag up, and get on with the show. Now remember, folks, the Lab Rats is what started this domino effect in 2015, which gave us so many other shows starting in 2017-18. I don't know how we got our hands on American Housewife to begin with. I mean, I just figured... I don't even remember the reasoning, but it was missed several years ago, when, like, in the pre-pandemic era. It's just, I don't know who gave it to us or what gave it to us, but always remember, long domino effect story short, without Lab Rats, we do not have all these other shows that came to us. Most likely American Housewife too, but who knows about that. But all I know is we do not meet Miley Flanagan, who played Principal Perry, and we do not, and the Lab Rats is part of what gave us that girl, Lab Rats was part of the initial domino effect, and one of the shows that it gave us was That Girl Lately, meaning we do not meet Joshua Banday. And if we never got to American Housewife or the Goldbergs to begin with, now keep in mind the Goldbergs was because we were supporting Kelly Berglund, which is now why we have it as a full-time show. So without Lele and the Goldbergs, we do not, and we do not meet or even American Housewife without any of, like, oh my god. Anywho, without Lab Rats, we do not, meet, Lab Rats, we do not meet Chris Peterson and Brian Moore. And, without Chris Peterson and Brian Moore, we do not meet John D. Beck and Ron Hart, meaning not only do we not get no Side Hustle or no David A. Arnold, with no David A. Arnold, we do not get That Girl Lately, meaning we do not meet Joshua Banday. And without Lab Rats as alone, we do not meet Miley Flanagan. And, without Lab Rats, we do, in supporting Kelly Berglund, when she played one of Barry's exes, Ren, we do not meet, what's her face, Jessica St. Clair. I mean, to be fair, we already saw Jessica St. Clair on American Housewife before there. But even without that and the Goldbergs combined along with the rest I just named, without any of that whole combination combined, no Miley Flanagan, no Joshua Banday, no Jessica St. Clair, meaning guess what? No, Not Dead Yet. See, because if I had stayed in Brook Park in the Sandhurst house, where, like, the younger version of me, I think I might have been 20 going on 21, wanted all this stuff I have in Ridgeville and Sandy Ridge, all this other where I'm at now, wouldn't be here today, meaning the friendships I have with these people from these shows that I watched today that have come and gone. But anyway, let's get to work.
She's in the superstation, black cats and voodoo dolls. I feel a promenation, that girl's gonna make me fall.
I know it's dark and you can't see anything, so I apologize for that, but, crap. That's better. All right, in the laundry room it goes. Look at this crap. Yeah, I can't remember if the dark clothes or the light clothes, wherever the fuck everything goes. So therefore, that's my laundry right there. So that's why I needed help. Otherwise, I'd do it on my own. Now back to the basement.
She's She's keen to new sensation, new kicks in the candlelight. She's got a new addiction for every day and night. She'll make you take your clothes off and go dancing
Okay,
in the
we're
rain.
all set like Jimmy Johnson, so I will see you all after the first 2 episodes. So Steve Parker, Rusty Wallace installment when we go over them.
Rate me. Oh, nope. Rate me. Oh,
What? Why?
rate
Where?
me.
What? Who?
And scotch tape. Oh. Yeah, no, you can't call her that anymore. Okay, Lexi is your boss now, and as crazy as it sounds, we have actually become.
I will smack your face.
Just like Bobby Labonte and
It's about time for that. Now, do that again. Do that again, all courtesy of one of my favorite characters, Jane Marvel, played by the great Mo Collins.
I can do this, right? I can do this, right? If I wasn't a ghost, I'd smack you across the face.
just like Bobby Labonte and
Even though I don't do that shit much anymore like I did in 2016, 17, and 18, and most of 2019, that shit will never not be funny. And boy, this place fucking cold. Man, we finally got it done. The world premiere of Not Dead Yet on ABC, for it was the double premiere for the Steve Park and Rusty Wallace installment. And it is good to see Melly Flanagan, who will forever be known as Principal Perry in my book from Living La Vida Labra. It's on my TV again, starting next week. We'll start watching every single episode in real time in this messy hunk of junk we call my office studio. So anyway, let's get into it. We're going to go by one episode at a time. First, we'll start off with the Steve Park installment. Now that Monty guy, at first I didn't understand why the fuck is this old motherfucker feel like, creepy ass dude following Nell around. Because at first I didn't understand the context of the show. Because there was a lot of context of a bunch of stuff I didn't in general, I didn't understand as a kid. Even as an adult, some things I don't understand the context of, but not as much as I did as a child. But here's the thing, though. I thought Not Dead Yet was just a basic comedy. Just a right basic comedy. Like, you can just laugh all the way around. But then when I saw the end of the first episode, when, Monty was talking about that, cricket lady that was his wife, and then I realized, oh, he's dead. But I guess this show is about seeing ghosts of dead people, trying to help you, succeed in life the same way they did, or trying to help you succeed in life in your own way and compared to them. Kind of like which I'm going to get to with Jane in the Rusty Wallace installment in a little while, but in a little bit, I should say, not a little while, but yeah, so Monty was trying to help Nell, succeed in life the same way he did when he was around, and therefore that was his though. So Cricket was Monty's wife this whole time, and the fact that they were talking in the bar, about her ex-fiance wishing her happy birthday, and then Lexi, the girl that, that she used to hate, that now she has to come, mend the relationship with, which I've done in real life too. There are a bunch of people in my life throughout my years, and dating back to, well, I wouldn't say Lenore, because Lenore, we don't go back that far, but there was a bunch of people I used to hate, on Sandhurst, when I lived in Brook Park, eventually when I got older, and then moved here to Ridgeville, and then, they moved on to something totally different, kind of like I did, compared to when we used to see each other all the time. I mended some of those relationships, There's this girl named Morgan Milhone that I used to hate in high school because she always was nothing but rude as fuck to me. And so I used to, I always taught growing up a kid, treat others how you want to be treated. So she was rude to me, so I was rude right back. So I was going to the point where I was writing songs about her, and to the point where they came this close to making a CD of it to give copies to my friends around the school in the 2010-2011 season as a sophomore at Berea High. The most iconic one was her getting run over by my then favorite NASCAR driver, Juan Montoya. Grandma got run over by a reindeer, and I had some that go into the Jeopardy theme, Wheel of Fortune theme, Changing Keys. How many other? I had one, the Highway Star. I had a bunch of them. There was a bunch of ones that I wrote right as she dropped out when I wrote to some Ricky Martin songs, even though I still loved Ricky Martin until 2011. I just didn't talk about him as much there was a time periods during this whole soon-to-be 24-year period I've loved him where I didn't talk about him that much, even though I should have done it. This whole 24-year period I've been loyal to him. But every once in a while I'd sneak him in there to the point where I even wrote one about her till she's all I ever had, a.k.a. Bea. But I never got to making the CDs because she ended up dropping out, which made me happy. And even then, at that same summer, she sent me a friend request when I was like 17 years old, and I still hated her. I didn't like the way she treated me, so therefore I declined it. But then all these years later, I grew up, and then I come think of it, I'm like, okay, there are some relations. There's this girl in high school I used to hate that whose relationship I need to mend, and so I reached out to her first. I didn't think she would see my message or let alone reply, and then she did, and she was very accepting, and she accepted where we called it a truce. She accepted my apology, and she was very honest with me, saying she forgot I existed. When I sent her a friend request, she was very generous enough to accept me, and now we're friends now. Now, if I see her at Brook Park Home Days, is a big if. If I see her at Brook Park Home Days, so the bigger if I end up making it back there, and then the biggest if she even still lives in that area, I hope that, I can include her in my YouTube Brook Park docuseries where I talk about how we never got along in high school. And then many years after we moved on, I reached out to her on Facebook. I apologized. And because of Life Lesson from Lab Rats, another Mally Flanagan show, which is part of why I'm watching the show. Everyone deserves a second chance. And hell, we even did this in the fanfic where Lexi, Marisa Cuevas' character, did the same thing Douglas did in the real life episode, which Father Knows Best. When Chris Peterson and Brian Moore made Douglas from a bad guy to a good guy, where we decided to do the same thing with Lexi in my fanfic, where we made her from a bad girl to a good girl. And, guess what? Exactly what we did, me and Morgan Milhone did. So, therefore, because it goes to show you, it's not just TV shows and fanfics that can be done. It can be done in real life, too. Now, hopefully, I doubt this other friendship will be mended. I mean, this other, relationship will be mended, but I'm hoping I can mend another one that I'm not going to get into here on the interwebs. But even here in Ridgeville, there were some people I didn't like, that I worked with. Or I work with one now, and I didn't like him in the beginning because he was doing me dirty in many different ways. But then when COVID hit, and, because they were talking about the pandemic a lot. So this show feels absolutely realistic with, and authenticity. I didn't like him in the beginning because he was getting in the way of girls I was in love with. And then COVID, all these years later, after we never spoke again, COVID hit and changed everything. It changed a lot of people for the good. And I'm saying some for the bad, unfortunately, but mostly for the good, including me. Therefore, then, my work, got changed up a lot, where there was 2 different day programs were put on the D4 and E5 side, and so I came to Triad, and then even though my dad wanted ViaQuest in the beginning, and then come last summer I realized I wanted ViaQuest more because I was falling out of love with what they were doing in Triad. So therefore we had a meeting, and it was confirmed that I was going to start on the 29th once everything was all set, like Jimmy Johnson, once everything was finalized. And then the 29th I started, and then I got a new SSA because the one I had for a couple years left. That's 2 SSAs that left on me. First Tim and then Jason, but hopefully Jen will be here. Is her name Jen? I think it is. Yeah, hopefully Jen's here to stay. Jennifer. Jennifer's here to stay. Hopefully, I believe that's her name. Yeah, but I don't remember her last name, unfortunately, because unless I were to see her at the day program again. But then when it came to ViaQuest, and then all the other new people started, like familiar faces, and this one dude I'm talking about I didn't like. We work together now, so we really couldn't hate each other anymore. So we were forced to mend our relationship, and now we're friends again. Like nothing ever happened. He's been in a couple of my YouTube videos where me and one of my work bestie, we're singing some Ricky Martin songs, Cup of Life from Vuelve and Living La Vida Loca from Ricky Martin, 1999. So Vuelve was 1998, both written by the same dudes, Robbie Draco Rosa and Desmond Child. So yeah, I can relate to Nell and Lexi in a way where she hated, her and her her and her friends hated her, but since they work together now, she was the boss of everybody. They had no choice but to mend their relationship with her and become friends with her. So Therefore, the old man wasn't trying to be the dead old man wasn't trying to be creepy, even though it seemed like it. He was actually trying to help Nell, and that's something I applaud. Alexandra Potter and Dean J. Holland, I think his name is, for for implementing, where ghosts can actually help people succeed, same way they did, or like in a different way compared to them, which I'm going to get to in a moment. And then, of course, what was the roommate? I'm trying to get to know everybody's names. I mean, I know his name. He's played by Rick Glassman, but what the hell is the roommate's name? Okay, his name is Edward. So Edward's the roommate, and communication skills. Nell and Edward have to try to work on the communication skills, which is what they talked over, which I'm going to get to in a tiny bit. But and the first it was like they were like, Nell accused him of having dumb rules and being so picky and about everything, which understandable because he was kind of being annoying and everything, which I'm gonna get to when I talk about the second episode. But not to mention that Nell and Lexi and Dennis and oh my God, Hannah Simone, what the fuck is your name? Sam. See, I'm trying to get to know everybody's name, but this is my first time watching it. So Sam, Dennis, Nell, and Lexi all went to the bar to have some, personal time away from work, and then the Scotch tape thing came up, and Lexi took a little bit of offense to that, and understandably so, even though Nell trying to make it seem, trying to make it seem less, offensive. But obviously, it's pretty obvious you really meant that. Even if you were joking around, it still didn't make it right. I mean, maybe when you guys were in the events before the show, when you guys didn't like each other, maybe that was fine. But nowadays, it's a new era. You start it's time to move on from that. That bad blood. I don't know the term I'm looking for, but who gives a shit? Time to move on from that negativity. I don't know what the fuck term it is, but anyway, the things we tend to fucking forget. But yeah, and then after Monty's work was done, Dennis read, the little thing that Nell got to write, and it turned out it was a success. And then when Nell tried to say goodbye, he went back to the dead. So therefore, that's unfortunate that she didn't get to say goodbye to him. Now I understand what the show is about. And before I talk about that, I'll say this real quick. Not to mention that Tina loves her salads, and guess what? So do I. Not as much as her, but does Melly Flanagan love salads and like that in real life? Melly, if you could answer that for me, that would be great. Also, unblock me on Facebook so I can add you and I can tag you and stuff if I ever talk about the show on there. But wow. But okay, so now for the second episode. So now Nell's trying to fit in on her new job. After she moved to London, I think it was, for some crazy reason that they mentioned. And then she ended up becoming a drunk alcoholic, which luckily, she came. I gotta remember this whole origination story. Alexandra Potter did a hell of a job writing this book, which allowed it to get published in the form of a television show. And so when this Mason guy, he was kind of strange. But then, now I see why he was acting strange, because Nell was putting him down and judging him and slamming him with a lot of slander. And so they got into a competitive match, an unnecessary competitive match, to the point where, and because, and also the fact that he was pissed off because, she took his office. Well, she didn't make that choice, dude. It was whoever. I think Dennis, you can blame my boy Joshua Band-Aid for whoever the fuck in the first episode was behind this, for giving her that space, and you were in the first episode. I don't know where the hell you were in the first episode, but still, that was something out of Nell's control. It's not like she said, "Hey, this is the office I want," without knowing that they already belonged to somebody. So Therefore, they kept competing against each other. He already got a nickname before Nell did, and he got invited to a little toasty lunch, celebratory in the conference room, whatever the hell that was. And then And then at the end, when they got into the break room, considering he was all covered in sweat, that probably wasn't even real sweat. They probably had to stop in between takes to, throw something all over him to make it look like sweat before shooting that scene. That's why it's just TV and it's not real compared to real life, even though they make it look real if you watch it on TV. But if you're actually there on the set in person, you have to go to school to learn about stuff like that. But or, if you're a fan trying to meet your favorite people from those shows, on the set of the show itself, they can tell you, the showrunners, writers, creators, and producers, and even the actors can tell you how they make this stuff look real on TV when you watch it from your living room or your basement, your man cave, your office studio, even though it really isn't real. But, man, and then they got a fair compromise in the run, but we have to find out this coming Wednesday on my RCL Harvick 29th birthday to see what the next step is going to be. So, therefore, now Edward, on the other hand, now he and Nell, talked it out, trying to make a deal where they could work on better communication, to the point where, before they made that deal first, she accused him of having dumb rules, and understandably so, because he was really picky about everything and being funny about a lot of shit and making up these rules that probably nobody comes up with those rules in general. And then, she said he was annoying, and he took exception to that. And I thought he was going to do more than that, like kick her out of the house and not send her somewhere else to live. But he just, shrugged it off and, walked away in disgust. And so, therefore, when she came home from, what was this she came home from? She came home after work, I think it was. She apologized to him and, saying all this stuff and everything. And he was accepting of it because, one, he said his girlfriend tells him he's annoying all the time anyway. And two, he was made that comment about, writing obituaries and not being book reports and everything. And he's kind of right. And also too, Rick Glassman, your character Edward, having Asperger's and autism. Well, guess what? So do I. So I can kind of relate to him in a way. And then, that Mo Collins lady, wow, Jane. So therefore, she likes my comment on Facebook, and I can tell she is friends with Mally on there because the fact that the comments that Mally liked, I can't see her name because she blocked me on there for some odd reason many years ago during the Livin' La Vida Lab Rats era. But hopefully, I can talk to Mo to, have talked to Mally so we can change that, so I can become friends with the former Principal Perry, who will always be Principal Perry in my book. But man, that Mo Collins, not Mo Collins, that Jane lady wasn't as creepy as that Monty guy. She was actually helping, Nell succeed in her own way, and it almost backfired, almost made her lose her job. But luckily, Sam saved her ass and convinced Lexi to not let eliminate that chance. And, so she can sacrifice getting herself one of her chances. So that way, Nell could keep her job. And let's not forget, Dennis had 5 chances against him. So who even does that, though, realistically? A book of chances or like a chance tracker? I don't know. A real boss in real life wouldn't do that. You fuck up once or maximum 3 times, you're out the damn door. So that's why it's just TV, where they do unrealistic stuff like that based off real life situations where they wouldn't do that unrealistic stuff in real life. And man, and then of course, was there anything else? And then, Cricket was, they were, going out to dinner to drown out her sorrows, kept going to restaurants. And then, Nell was telling everybody about how she lost Monty, who we saw in the first episode. And, everybody was being nice, saying sorry for your loss. And she was kind of 50-50 on it. She was okay with it in a way, but at the same time, she kind of wasn't liking that, Nell was telling the whole world about her. And then the episode ended. I saw this part of this scene when I turned on the TV to get ready for AMLT on Wednesday night. When they walked into the bar and, because Cricket was working as a bartender. Edward and Nell were working into the bar that, Cricket was working at. And I think Nell on the drive there said, "Don't say anything to cricket about losing her husband, and he did anyway, and she wasn't even offended by it, which is amazing. And then they just laughed it off, and then they had a glass of wine. But man, I'm so glad we finally got this done. Starting this coming Wednesday for my birthday, as long as I don't go out after my virtual meet and greet with Christina Moses and the cast of AMLT, especially her, Allison Miller, and Lizzie Green on Instagram video chat. Hopefully someone on set of AMLT can record it on Lizzie or whoever's phone and then send it to me so I can actually put it in my YouTube video of me celebrating my Kevin Harvick 29th birthday. It's going to be 64 degrees in my area here on my birthday, which we're going to get a nice, decent, warm winter day on my birthday, to the point where if there's enough time after I'm done chatting, virtually meeting the cast of A Million Little Things, we get to spend my birthday outside. It's something that we never get to do. Hell, even on Lenore and Sanders, I didn't get to do that. I mean, the only time I got to do it here was the week after in 2017, after my Kenny Wallace 23rd birthday. But like I said, I'm going to edit and upload this now. But at the same time, we ain't done yet. We ain't done, because now that we got Not Dead Yet out of the way, I'm going to edit and upload this, and then we're going to go into the messy-ass man cave and office, office studio, and do the Brett Bodine and Ryan Newman installments of the Goldbergs before we come back with the Ty Dillon installment on my birthday this coming Wednesday. And then tomorrow we visit the Crotch of Doom I don't even know how old he is now, but I'll ask him when he gets there. And we're probably going to remember, because sometime tomorrow after we visit, a time to be announced, because we haven't even set up a time yet, but sometime that we have two things going to happen that day, which are probably going to be both on camera for a YouTube video. We're going to do the Really Loud House, I believe it was the Casey Atwood, let's change it from Atwood to Spencer, because Jimmy Spencer was the 7, while Casey Mears was the 41. So the Jimmy Spencer installment, we'll still have the chaos like Casey Atwood tagline, but still. So the Jimmy Spencer 7th installment of the Really Loud House through the, I think, Brett Bodine installment, because they have 2 parts of the Brett Bodine installment, or unless they count part 1 as Brett Bodine and, part 2 is Ryan Newman. I don't know how they do this. Sometimes they do, when they do 2-parters, they'll count part 1 as one episode and part 2 as a different episode. For me, that should be illegal. It should be, part 1 should be half, and part 2 should be the other half to make one whole episode. But the honchos at Nick, Disney, ABC, CBS, and Fox make that call, not me. But if it were up to me, that's how I would do it. But sometime tomorrow, whenever we visit with the Crotch of Doom, whether it be before or after, we are going to come back to the Really Loud House and do episode Jimmy Spencer through Brett Bodine, takeaway. We're going to do takeaways from that, and then hopefully sometime down the line, because, that girl Lele is coming back. That girl Lele is coming back the day after my birthday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch it in real time, because I'm live streaming the Gatorade Twin 125s on my YouTube channel for excitement purposes. But the fact that all the uncharted cars are going to be going for the same piece of real estate to make the Great American Race, just like they used to when I was a kid before the charters, when they had 43-car fields where 50 or more cars would show up to qualify for a race, whether it be the Daytona 500 or the other 35 points paying Winston Cup races. And so that means I'm going to test my computer while I'm over there to see if it actually works before we get any further. But if I don't have time to do that tonight, I'll probably do it tomorrow. And so we're going to come back there. Hacker Lele is coming back the day after my birthday, and then I think the day after the Hacker Lele, we're going to have another Bunked episode. We're going to come back to Bunked soon. We're going to come back to that soon. I just don't know when. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling and just end it right here. I will see you all in a little bit down the line when we go over the Brett Bodine and Ryan Newman installments of the Goldbergs. So the cast of Not Dead Yet, hell of a show. Shout out to Alexandra Potter, I think her name is, for creating an iconic masterpiece that got to come to life in the form of a TV show. See you guys next week for my birthday for the Dale Senior Austin Dillon installment, and for the rest of you, I'll see you on a little bit for the Brett Bodine and Ryan Newman installments of the Goldbergs.